All right, this is another Tracks Entertainment show, everyone, and Tracks is stepping in. This episode is gonna be an interview with a normal person like us that works in a church, and we're just gonna get his point of view of an experience of working in a church, how it is, how fun it can be, how bad it can be. I'm just gonna get his point of view. And this is Neil, everyone, and let's start this. All right, hi my entertainers. Let's start this interview. We're just gonna talk to Neil. I hope you guys enjoy. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and I hope you guys like it. So Neil, thanks for coming today.
No problem at all. Welcome to my office. This is where I work most of the time. You can see some of the background stuff. I'm a youth worker. Been working in youth work for over 10 years. I work in church, but I also work outside in the community as well. Schools, clubs, all kinds of stuff. I've been doing that for a long time now. Really enjoy it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing it. So
what do you do with them schools, schools, clubs, and?
So a bunch of things, really. A lot of different things. I do go into the schools. I do mentoring, so coming alongside people like yourself and just mentoring one-to-one group situations. Other things I do sports coaching. So I go into schools and I coach sports, mainly football, basketball, but we do other things as well. I've also been going into schools and doing assemblies, presentations, different things. And weirdly enough, I also go into schools and I do a little bit of DJing as well as part of my work, reaching out into the community.
So alongside of you working in a church and supporting other children and stuff, you also do DJing?
Yes, I do that on the side. I love playing music. I got a nice little system that I've been set that I use and go to different places in Streatham, all over the place really. Not just Streatham, but all over the place. And yeah, it's fun, man. I've done funerals, weddings, birthday parties, and like I said, schools as well, because a lot of schools, when they come towards the end of the term, they want to have a little bit of a rave, So I go in there, do my thing, and make it fun.
So is it hard putting the two together?
No, for me it's quite simple because it's kind of like an overflow of what I do. I work with schools anyway, and so by going into schools and using music, which is something that comes up a lot when you're working with young people, because young people are into music, like yourself, right?
Myself, yeah.
So it's an easy thing to use music as a medium, and when I DJ, it's like that I'm connecting with a lot of the young people. Makes sense?
Yeah, makes sense. So as you entertainers can hear, you can work at a church but also do a side job which can also fit in. So you can work at a church and also be a musician like Neil is, and still combine the two together. So in the church you can be a musician and teach a band in the church, but also work in a church you can also be outside the church and do schools and that, because the school has called the church and the church has asked you to go to the school. So you working in a church, if you wanted to work in a church, you can combine what you like together as well. Like for example, let's say
sports coaching, you can mix it with that, because I work for the church mainly and they are the ones that pay me, but the coaching that I'm doing going into schools is another company, another organization, and they also pay me. So I'm doing the two things side by side. I'm reaching out to young people, which is part of the work I do here, but I'm also doing something that I enjoy, sports, and connecting with that. And so it's two different kind of jobs really, but they connect.
So that means Neil is doing musician and sports. So that's
free.
So it's a free thing, working in a church, doing sports and doing musician. So wow, working in a church you can do a lot of what you wish. Probably acting as well. Let's say no.
I'll leave that to you. I don't do acting.
You don't do acting, but if you work in a church, would you be able to do acting?
Yeah. It depends. It depends on the load of your work, because like I'm my contract is to work for 40 hours a week. I have
40 hours a
to.
week, okay.
Yeah. So I have to do that. So anything beyond that 40 hours could be what I want to do. But I must make sure that I'm doing my 40 hours a week. Otherwise, I'm not really doing my job.
Okay. So the only difficult thing is, if you wanted to work in a church, you will have to do 40 hours.
In my position, in my job, yes, in my job, that's true.
That every person, or is that some people, or depends what you're doing?
Exactly. Some people in this church, they work part-time, so they're not going to be doing 40 hours a week. They'll only do 20 hours a week, or some do 10 hours a week. I do 40 because I'm full-time and I'm working in the church and out of the church as well. So it's flexible. And like I said, there are some people on staff here, they only work maybe 10 hours a week.
So what's the lowest hours you can do, and what's the highest you can?
I think, to be quite honest, I think there's a lady that comes here to the church to clean the church. She doesn't work very often. It's like probably 4 hours.
Hours a week?
Yeah, probably 4 hours just to clean the church, hoover the church, do the normal cleaning jobs, and she does it in about 4 hours, and then she's gone. So that's probably she's paid for that. So that's probably the smallest amount of hours that somebody works for the church.
So if it's hard to find a job, or you like being around the church sometimes, you just being a cleaner, you'll be here for 4 hours a week, you said?
Approximately.
4 hours a week, and you could do your time in the church. That's if you like a church. How did you get into youth working?
Very good question, Kawanya. I wonder. No, it's not a joke. Do you know what? It's a mad story still, and I'm kind of gonna get serious on this point because it's. Okay. Basically, I was involved with youth work when I was growing up. I'm part of the youth group myself. Loved it. Got alongside a lot of people. My friends were all part of the youth group in North London. And anyway, what happened was I went off to study. And when I studied, I left London. I went out of London, got involved with a university in a place called Worcester. While I was there, got involved with a very, very small youth group. Just went along, helped out, just played table tennis, played pool, went out, had a laugh, that kind of stuff. 2 twos. On a trip, took a bunch of those guys who were in Worcester to London on a kind of a weekend trip, because most of them had never been to London before in their life. So what happened next was they enjoyed themselves. They had a good time. They met some of my friends in London. On the way back, one of them in particular was saying, you know what, Neil, man, you gave us a lot to think about. We've never had to think about because we had deep conversations about life, about God, about purpose, why we're here, why we living, what's the reason for life.
So them saying that made you think, why don't I work in it?
No, something tragic happened that made me think.
Okay.
After this group went back, and there was the one person that was saying, you know, we got to think about life. 2 twos. Not long after, probably about a month after that, she was murdered. She was killed, murdered to death. Long story, I won't go into it, but she was killed. And it was like, that's deep. 1 minute I'm talking to her, next minute she's dead, and I'm going to the funeral.
A girl as well?
It was a young lady. So it got me to start thinking about what I want to do in my life. Do I just want to make bare money and have a big house, or do I want to help people? And I chose to start thinking about helping young people, because I was remembering that young lady. Yeah, I was thinking about her, and I was thinking, boy, do I just want to make bare peas and that's it, or is there something more to life? And that's when I made the decision. Came back, finished my course. I was doing graphic design, came back to London, and then got involved with more and more and more youth work, until one day someone turned to me and said, yo, you ever thought of doing this full time? I thought, yeah, why not? Mad story, right?
Yeah. Pretty tragic, but
sad, but something positive came out of that, for me anyway.
Helping other youngsters.
That's right.
Other people, the other youngsters to get out of that, let's say, gang kind of life and street kind of life.
That's right.
Get into what they want to do. And
I know I'm going to say another one. I'm going to share another one, which is, so I want to share another one if you don't mind. And I don't, it's not a string of sad stories, so don't think it's just all about sad stories, because it's not. But
By the way, this isn't sad stories like he just said. It's just to tell you how he got into it and how you could get into it as well. And it's not just, this episode is not just for you to know what it would be like to work in the church, but it's why people do work in the church. And you know, is just to know why people do work in church, not just to how is it working in church, if you know what I mean. Yeah, it's just so the experience basically why they came.
Definitely. And so another major experience, so I was already working in youth work at that point, but there was another youth group I was involved with, and again, sadly, man, one of the guys, I remember, because I was working in this youth group in North London, and I told them that I was moving to South London to do youth work.
So that's where we are now, guys.
So when I was telling them I'm going to come down to Streatham, they were like, no, don't leave us. Anyway, I rounded them all up, and I remember they were mostly boys like your age, and I basically did a little 15, 16, 17, 18, that kind of age, up to late teens. And I remember I was saying to them, listen, you know what, I'm going to be going down South London, but keep strong. Look after each other while I'm gone. Watch each other's backs. You don't know what's going to happen to you when you're out on the road, so be careful, because you know how it goes with black men sometimes. Foolishness can happen. So I was saying this to all of them, and they were like, yeah. A couple months later, I had to go back up to North London because I had to do the funeral for one of them. He was walking in a place in North London, and he got into an argument with some other dude, and the other dude went into his pocket, pulled out a knife, stabbed him in the leg, and he bled to death.
Okay.
So I had to do the funeral for that. So it was reminding me why I do what I do. It reminded me, like, when I'm working with young people, trying to inspire young people, trying to show them that there's more to life than just making bare money and getting big cars, big house. There's more to life, because you know what, you can make all the paper, you can make all the houses, you can make all the cars, but can you take it with you? Nope. So life is more than that, and that's why I feel like I'm doing what I'm doing, to try and inspire other young people, give people hope, to make them dream big dreams, like my man over here who loves to dream big dreams, and that's why he's doing this right now, because he has a dream to do this. So
my dream,
what is your dream?
Just to let you know, I'm not doing this just so I can get famous or famous YouTube and stuff. I like to entertain people. I always dreamed of doing a show. I always dreamed of being on a show and being a host of a show. And I like doing that. I like entertaining, and I like giving people information and useful stuff and make people laugh. I just like doing that. I don't know why, to be honest. I actually don't know why. I just like doing it. And yeah, that's why I'm doing this. So don't think I'm just doing this to get my P's and to get YouTube famous. I'm just like doing this, and hopefully it will be bigger than this one day. Cool. So one more question. You don't have to tell me the exact you don't have to tell me the exact like payment, but how much around do you get paid for working in a job? Just so they know, just in case they wanna, you know.
So roughly, I mean, in the church, it's slightly different from working in a community youth setting. In a youth community setting, like a youth worker can get paid from about 25k up. In a church setting, slightly lower.
Okay.
So I get around 22, 23k a year.
A week? Oh, a year.
K. What K is?
Yeah, I said a week.
I'd be flying around the world if I was making 23k a week. But yeah, you're making about 22 to 23k. Making for the coaching, they pay me 12 an hour.
12 an hour?
Yep.
Okay. So, is that alright? Is that
yeah.
So if you ever think about working in a church, just watch watch this episode. Watch it from the beginning if you just like trying to skip me and stuff. Yeah, but Neil just gave you guys a nice life kind of talk to. If you like to work in a church, he gave you some nice information. If you wanted to know about the pay in a church, he just gave you some nice information. And you know what? I've learned stuff about this as well. Even though, no disrespect, I won't be working in a church because I got my dreams. But yes, if you would like to work in a church, just watch this. I hope you guys like this episode. Remember to like, comment and subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys next episode. Peace out, entertainers.
Later.
We're gonna start this vlog. So the first one I'm gonna show you